Today, we produce food and we emit 12 gigatons. We, in 2050, if we want to reach Paris, we need to do that almost with no emission. But we will have more people, we have bigger cities, so we need to change the system. My father was born in the Netherlands and he just had the dream that he wanted to plant coffee. And he got a contract to go to Brazil and he started there. I grew up between the big city and the farms. I really loved it. When you are at the farm, you see everything connected. And that's really shaped me, that you really have to look at things from a total part, from integral part. Every holiday I would go to farms and I would play soccer with the kids of the smallholder farmers, and something really strange was going on there. Every season I would come back to that same farm, you would see fewer and fewer kids playing. Later I started realizing that that farm would be buying the smallholder farm next to it so it could expand, or that those smallholder farmers could not have enough living, so they need to sell their labor to the bigger farm and to the dryers. And that's the first time where it triggered me. If you think about food production, it's not only about the produce you're doing also, it's also about the social quality of the life of the people producing our food that we probably have forgotten about. If you look at the history of the world, we have always tried to get the cheapest food. It's because we don't really pay for the right price of the social input of that food, and we don't pay for the right price of the nature that goes into that food. And we need to change that. You need to add the real value of the labor and the commitment of that families in producing that food to you. And we need to make sure that we can produce food in a way that we actually add to nature and society. To be able to fix our global food system, we need to look at everything that goes into the food production. What happens today is that big value chains, starting somewhere in the rural areas of Brazil, arriving somewhere in Asia, going to a factory, and then getting to the supermarket, there's no cost to it. Nobody pays for that nature. That's why this whole big value chain is possible. You might be thinking you're doing the right thing of taking soy milk, but it might be that there's much more cost of nature in that product than if you would do normal milk. We just don't know. If we want to go to zero emission of the food production, we need to start to think differently. The big companies, governments, should be the catalyzers for the change in thinking. We don't have a path how to get the true pricing in the system so that we can get there. Today, if you are a farmer and you do the right things on carbon, what is the framework, what is the standardization of that ton of carbon that I took out of the air? We emit every year 50 gigatons as society, and somebody needs to take it out, otherwise we will not be able to live in this planet anymore. So if I take 100 tons out of the air and I put it into my ground, how are we going to measure that? How are we going to standardize it? Who is going to buy it? Food can get neutral. I hope really that FSS will get the partnerships, the pathway, so that in 2050 we can get there. What really gives me hope is that I see more and more young people starting to understand. There is a shift, change in the mindset, and for me that's extremely important. I think there will be a very big advancement to measure how we use nature. What I'm really proud of as a banker is that we have the foundation where we try to reach out to farmers so that they can get organized and cooperative. We have the Rabo Carbon Bank. We have Rabo Development, where we've been investing in banks so that they can get structured in very difficult countries so that they can do the financing. Yes, we are doing things, but what I see is that what we are doing is just not enough. It's just not enough. We need a bigger movement to make it big. Today we emit 12 gigatons. We need to almost double food production, and it has to go to 0 gigatons. One player alone cannot do it, but I commit every day to go out there and tell this story, to try to influence everybody out there so that we will get there.